Buenos dias, Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Here goes another one. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I said, what? Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Here goes a motherfucking another one. Bye-up, bye-up, bye-up. We gonna get straight into it, man. And in Menudo style of direct fashion, you already know what it is, man. You see the thumbnail? A cell extraction. See, a lot of people can go to jail. A lot of people can go to prison. CYA, prison. It doesn't matter, man. And no one can do it better, right? But when you go, you might experience a lot of shit. You might hit the yarda, si pegada, your first one. Ooh, wee, oh my, right? You might get to R&R and get rolled up. And next thing you know, you're all there in the SOIR chilling, right? You don't know what's going on. Anything can happen at any given time, man. People get incarcerated, they get locked up, they think everything's going to be all good just because they got a few homeboys on the yarda, and then their few homeboys are socking them up. It can happen that fast. But one thing, and one thing only, that a lot of people never experience, but they hear about, and I'm about to tell you firsthand, first and foremost, something I experienced, is a cell extraction. Will I ever go through it again? Fuck no. Will I ever try to do this again? Hell no. Hell to the no, right? And I'm going to tell you why. It's no joke, man. It's a funky ride. It's a funky exhibition, right? It's a funky expedition. It's no joke. I went through it, a cell extraction, and I'm going to give you the whole story right now to get down on exactly what led up to it, why we did it, what I was thinking while we did it, why I shouldn't have done it, right? But I participated. See, when you're functioning and you're participating with the fellas, then you got to roll with the punches. You got to do whatever the crew does, right? If they want to get down, you get down. If they don't, you don't. And if you will, you won't. That's just how it is. But here's some knowledge you can't get in college. Every man must make a decision. When you're incarcerated, it's totally up to you to make the decision, eh? You can sit back and talk all that rah-rah, bump your baking soda breath up out the door and talk about how high-powered you are and what you're really into. But when it comes push to shove, when it comes time to put up or shut up, you best put up. You know what I mean? All in, put your chips in, humps, because it's about to go down. And let me tell you right now, them placas will fuck you up. Straight up, it's a no-win situation. So anyways, here's the lead up to what happened. This is my experience surviving a cell extraction, barely, right? Toothless and shit. You think I'm high? I lost a tooth during this motherfucker. Real talk. Trip out. So, that day I remember what was happening was we were in the oil. Administrative segregation. And when you're doing time in the hole, there's different holes for different places. Different prisons, different yards have different holes. Some, it's just a stretched out long ass, seems like a hallway, man, where there's maybe a wall on one side and doors on the other, so you can fish back and forth with your neighbors, but you really never get to see them unless they're walking by for showers or recreation or whatever the case may be. And then there's some oils that basically look like a shoe. It's a pod, a 16-man pod, 8 cells or fucking 16 cells or however the fucking way they got it constructed, right? And these are the people that you're doing time with. These are the people that you see every day coming out for showers, coming out for rec, coming out to talk to their counselor. And you start to become accustomed and aware of the ways of the get down of the schedule. What's happening? You'll hear a door pop. Okay, it's shower time. You'll hear another door pop. Okay, that's the rec yard. You'll know exactly what it is if you've done any extensive amount of time in administrative segregation. Now, I'm going to be honest and true and real with you guys. If you go to prison and you're a functioning, active gang member and you're really in the mix, you're going to go to the hole. It's going to happen once upon a time. Spence on la tira. If you've ever been to prison and you never went to the hole, your ass wasn't general population. You weren't putting in no work, Holmes. Stop it. Or you definitely didn't get caught up in a situation, because you'll get snatched up and thrown in the hole for anything. If someone speaks on you, drops a kite on you, a huila, paloma, whatever you want to call them, and they fucking drop it, you're going to the oil. Guess what? You're going to go see ICC and they're going to ship your ass on out of here. Doesn't matter where you go, but that you're going. Guard! They're going, right? And I've been in plenty of different situations and did whole times in different states, different prisons. It's just what it is. So anyways, this particular day, what had been happening was there was a young placa that started working in the hole, and El Vato thought he was the shit. He thought he could do whatever he wanted because we were behind locked doors, and because every time they come to your door for you to go on a line movement, what they would do is they'd pop the tray slots. You'd stick your hands out the cuff port, bam, they'd handcuff you. They had like a little leash on it, and they'd walk you a couple placas at a time. There's never one. If there was ever one placa that was going to walk you somewhere, something was totally wrong, right? There was always at least 2 or 3 placas walking you just for safety and security measures. Anyways, trip out. This vato was a youngster, man, and he thought that if for no other reason, he'd walk by, snicker, smirk, look in the cells during count time, talk a little shit. One thing you can't do while you're in prison is talk shit. Doesn't matter if you're a cop, doesn't matter who you are, because people will fucking call your bluff. They will huff and puff and bluff your butt fucking door down. They're not playing. You know, there's a lot of big bad wolves in there. There's a lot of alligators in them swamps. And if you go sticking your fucking toes in them, nippy-yi-yo, gonna bump your body, baby. They're gonna nip your toes off. That's what it is, man. It's a whole bunch of sharks and a whole bunch of alligators just waiting and hoping that that fucking door cracks so they can bite someone's whole shit off. But this guy thought he was bad. This guy had a chip on his shoulder. This guy thought he was going to play us out of pocket. So anyways, he's walking around every day during count time, and he has something to say. Well, I had a neighbor that was downstairs. I was on the top tier. My neighbor was on the bottom. He was a white boy. Now, you would think, being a Norteño at that time, that we wouldn't associate with the woods, brother. But when you're in the oil, whoever's in that vet, man, whoever you could chop it up with, man, you have civil conversations. You have great conversation because, hey, man, that's pretty much the only person you could talk to when you're doing an extensive amount of time in the oil like I was. I was doing about a little 6-month shot right there. I was going to sit my ass down and do every bit of that time, whether it be on the toilet or the bed reading Louis L'Amour books. Didn't matter. Orderly, Jackie Collins at night. You know what it is. I got mine on. Sidney Sheldon, I was the master of the game. So anyways, I'm chilling, kicking back, and every day me and the homeboy downstairs would chop it up through the vent. Now, he was a white guy. Now, let me tell you the makeup of this building. It looked kind of like Pelican Bay Shoe. It was a pod. Okay, there was a control center in the middle and a whole bunch of different other pods. But this was a pod, and there were several different individuals in this pod. Now, we had a few brothers, some Crips, some Bloods, and we had a couple North thugs. And then, of course, there was a couple Southsiders in this pod, as well as a few Woods. There was about 4 or 5 Woods, a couple Southsiders, a couple Northerners, and a few Africanos, maybe one Asian that was just sitting there trying to hold on like in Vogue. Orderly, he was getting his Don Robinson on. Anyways, he was like the last of the Mohicans. He was like Beyonce to Destiny's Child. He was barely holding on and still twerking on stage. He was the only one there. So we used to all chop it up, light conversation on the tira, but of course in the vents, that was the person you most got familiar with. Like I said, there was a Wood brother that was downstairs, and he was a cool vato, man. I remember we used to chop it up every day. Very smart and intelligent individual, had a lot of game, a lot of knowledge that I couldn't get in college. So he would tell me all about their get down, not the intricacy details into their politics, but just, you know, the average day of being a Wood in a Wood area. And I'd get there, we chop it up. Tell war stories, so what, so not. Now look at this. What started happening was that young Placa, one day my neighbor tells me, he's like, hey, bro, I don't fucking like that cop, bro. He thinks he's bad, man. He goes, if I can get my hands on him, I'll do something horrible to him, something terrible. I'd get medieval on his ass. Give me some vice grips, some pliers, and some motherfucking, those things that you can pull moles off with. What are they? I don't know. The ones that the girls pluck their eyebrows with. Right here, like, give me some of those, some tweezers, and I'll have to get to tweezing. Anyways, the vato's fucking doing his little walk around one day, and he starts to hand out mail. Now, mail is a big thing in prison. Don't mess with a man's food. Don't mess with a man's mail. These are 2 things that I advise you if you ever go to the penitentiary, you don't fuck with. A man's food or his mail, his property, period, okay? Because you got family sending you pictures. These are your letters. This is your only communication with the outside world. This is what takes you up out of the realm of prison. So don't mess with a man's mail, right? But this Placa decides that if for no other reason, he's going to make us wait. So every day it got longer and longer. We're like, hey, it's mail time. We know it's mail time. How can you tell me? Look at the hair on the back of my head's rising. It's mail time, right? But every day this vato got slower and slower. And he got to the point where he would walk around with a stack of mail and then just leave. It wouldn't even hand it out, right? Or set it right there where we can all look at it. We're all like, dude, hold it. Motherfuckers is all sick, right? Because they can't get their hands on the mail, but it's right there. He was teasing us. He was torturing us. Now, at that particular time, I didn't get too much mail, so it wasn't really torture to me. But I felt for the rest of the gente that did. And this vato, my neighbor, the guy that was below me, the white guy, his wife, man, that was his only communication. So he got a letter every day. Oh, spoiled ass white boy motherfucker, right? He got a letter every day, right? His lady, she was loving him, right? Me, on the other hand, Saskia, I'm lucky if I got one once a month. But, hey, you know what I mean? It is what it was, and it was what it is. Now, he starts telling me, man, this fool's playing us out of our mail, bro. You know, I feel like writing a grievance on him. I said, nah, you can't do that, bro. That's that old bullshit. You know, this shit don't work anyways. As soon as they get the grievance, they do this. They rip it up, and you ain't got no guard. Does that shit work? You motherfucker, you know it don't work, right? It don't work. Grievances usually don't work, man. So I was like, that's a waste of time. And then anyways, the way that this guy's going to do, once he sees you wrote a grievance on him, he's going to retaliate, bro. You know, next thing you know, you're going to have caca in your fucking, in your Fruit Loops. You know what I mean? You don't want that. These cops can play some serious head games with you. They can mess with you, manipulate you. Remember, when you're in the oil, they touch everything that you got coming into that cell. So next thing you know, if you got a sheet that smells like fucking mecos, that's on you, Holmes. They dicked you up. You don't want to play with them. You do not want to play with the blackers. Most of these blackers, they ain't like working in the oil. They don't want to work in the oil. They don't want to deal with all the J-Cats and the people bumping baking soda breath on the doors, yelling and screaming at night, because there are those J-Cats that do that. They just don't want to deal with it. So they're definitely going to mess with you, man, if you mess with them. Retaliation is a must where they're from. So I told him, nah, don't do that, bro. You know what I mean? Let's just wait. Let's be patient. Eventually, this Vato will start catching on to the program, and hopefully he gets his mind right so he can shine right. But this wasn't to be the case. It got worse to where I started noticing, Sasuke, where's my letter of the month? Sasuke, now it's affecting me. Norteños! Mount up, right? So I'm telling the homeboy, I'm getting at him, we're sign language. Hey, bro, what's up with the placa? And everybody's feeling the same type of way. So we lost start to fly south, north, white boys. The brothers excluded themselves. Now, I'm not here to say the brothers weren't riders and they weren't down to handle their business, but the brothers didn't want no part of what we had planned, what we had going on, which was definitely building up to a cell extraction. Now, that's the only way when you're in prison you can fight back and get back at the placas when you're in the oil, is to make them work. If you make them do a little bit of work, if you make them put in the work, they're going to be very, very upset, right? But it's our only way to get back at them. But we're not the type of individuals being active gang members at the time that are just going to do that for no reason other than we can. We're going to do it because there's a reasoning behind it. So the Vato keeps messing with our mail. But what happens the day that it really sets off? We're already talking about it. Like, hey, if this black guy keeps fucking with us, man, because we've already, it's not like you could snitch and tell the lieutenant, hey, this cop's messing with us. That's telling, right? You got to just basically just grit your teeth, hold it down, man, and do what you does, cuz, right? Come up with some type of plan. And to come up with this plan, we had to come together for power. La Onda style, right? So the two Southerners, the two Northerners, and the white boys, we were all on the same page. And the page was, we have to strive for social status of equality, meaning we're going to strive for what we got coming. What little bit we got coming, that's what we fucking want, right? And we're going to have that no matter what. And if it takes popping the sprinklers and wetting the whole tier, and we're going to get to that, and doing all that, well, we were. Cell extraction time. So here's the get down. This particular day, what had happened was there was a J-Cat downstairs that decided to pop his sprinklers. There was these little sprinklers that were up there on your cell. So if your cell caught fire, and there was like a little thing that if you put your fucking chancla in there and you hit it with your pencil, it would pop very easily and water would spray everywhere. And it was like a flood in there. And then, of course, it'd come out your door and the placas got hella pissed because they had to bring the tier tenders out to mop it up. They had to do paperwork, and it just wasn't a cool thing. One was this J-Cat was arguing with the cops downstairs, so he decided to pop his sprinkler. Oh, he set it off, all right. He set the shit off. Kick it off then, orderly. Right, Queen Latifah set it off. So this Vato set it off. When he did that, we all looked at each other through our windows like, ready? Hike, right? We're going to get our Tom Brady on. Trip out on this. I guess this placa decided to walk by when this guy did his thing and drop all the mail in the water. And then look up and laugh and say, I guess your guys' mail got wet. Do you guys want me to throw it away or do you still want it? Well, of course motherfuckers wanted their mail wet or not. Let's get Crimea River. They don't care if there's teardrops on it. They want that, right? So anyways, the placa starts handing out this wet-ass soggy mail. Fuck my homeboy's pictures of his family, right? He was, I'm saying homeboy because we were cool, but he was a white boy. He was actually an enemigo, right? But, well, you know how it goes. It works differently in different places. Anyways, we're cool. He's pissed, right? So he starts getting at the white boys, right? So 4 white guys were going to go, meaning that they were going to cell extract. The 2 Northerners, we were down to rock with them. The 2 Southsiders, let's go, Wesley, right? They were down to do their thing. Everybody's going to rock. So the way it went, this white boy was going to kick it off. He was going to start it. Next thing you know, you heard, poosh! He popped his sprinkler. Now, all I had in my cell was a bottle of baby oil, some shampoo, some lotion. So I was trying to get my ejaculation on at all points, right? So I made sure I kept hella moisturizer, right? So I threw that shit all over the floor so that way when the cell extraction team, the goon squad came up in my cell, they were going to be slipping and sliding while I was going to be hoop riding. I was going to be handling my business. Now, in this particular oil, you were allowed magazines as well as newspapers. Now, you were supposed to throw them out after each day, but a lot of us accumulated stacks of newspapers so you could reread and reread and reread because you were bored. I took all these newspapers and I wet them so they became like a solid brick, and I threw them up in a pillowcase. Sounds good. I had me some weaponry. I was going to handle my business. It wasn't going to do much to the Goon Squad, but sounds good. Hey, you can't knock me for trying. I took a wet t-shirt. I wrapped it around my face because I know they're going to mace the dog shit out of me, right? Put one over my head because sounds good. The back of my head's blowing out and I don't want it to look worse. Anyways, I was ready. Boxered up, chanclet up. Let's get it, right? Boom, the first cell extraction happens. We're looking, we put paper on our doors, mattresses up by our doors. We're acting a fool. The Goon Squad comes in. They're like, oh, you guys take off all the paper in your windows. Fuck you, right? We ain't going out like that. Or were we? One never knows, does one. So the first white boy, boom, he gets off where he's mad at, right? Man, you can hear him in there. Stop resisting, stop resisting. Now, this is how the Goon Squad comes in. They come in about 6, 7 deep with a lieutenant. They're all capped up. You see them on the thumbnails, how they look. They got the shields. Now, this particular place, they had an electric shield. That motherfucker hurt. It was like lightning. Zzz, right? They got him. They got him, right? So anyways, they come in marching like some soldiers. They're all at the door, and they're like, submit to restraints. Now, there's a Sally port. There's a tray slot. That tray slot pops. That's where they feed you your meals when you're in the oil. Almost every fucking prison hole is like that. It's for less contact. You know, it's for safety. So they're telling the dude, the white boy, hey, sell up. He's like, fuck you, brother. Coffee, right? He's ready. The lieutenant gives you one last warning. It's the way it goes down. This is how it always goes down in prison. The lieutenant says, so you're not going to submit to restraints? No, hell no, we won't go, right? Okay, you're going to go somehow, some way, brother, right? Pop the tray slot. They pop the tray slot. They mace. They fog him with the big old fogger. You could hear him in there choking. He be choking. He was choking, yoking with 4 doors open, right? Then they rush in. Now they got one guy who stands in the back with a camera. And let me tell you something. That vato will never, ever in his life work for Universal. He'll never work for Universal Pictures. I'm telling you, that vato's doing this. Looking everywhere but with what's going on. And you can hear the vato in there screaming. They are smashing him, right? I'm sitting there. I'm next, right? I got to pop next because my cell's next. I'm telling the homeboy in the bed, are you guys sure about this? You know what I mean? Brother, this is a wood thing, right? Oh, man. Anyways, they bring this vato out. It looks like he rode the Demon at Great America, the roller coaster. He's in a bad way, Holmes. They drag his ass out butt naked down the steps. Hey, are you going to submit to restraints? I'm looking around. I'm the only one in the cell. I'm like, damn, bro, what do I do, right? I said, fuck you, right? They said, oh, no. Fuck me? Fuck you, right? Are you sure you're not going to submit to restraints? Take the paper off your window. I ain't going to do none of that, right? I'm doing the baby oil like, someone's coming to use all that shit, right? I'm trying to grease myself up like, fuck, it's about to go. These motherfuckers came in. And let me explain to you what it felt like. You know, it felt like the mix between a tornado and a fat bitch doing the Bundy splash on you, right? A straight torta. Let me tell you what happened. They rushed in, hit me with that shield. I got one off. Trying to hit. That about to did the Matrix. Slapped the dog shit out of me. I went forward. There was like 6 blackers on me. And they weren't on me like, stop resisting. They were on me like, bitch, the fuck over here. Oh, crap. I was like, oh, power. Right, they were on me. The guy in the camera, he's doing this. He's talking to people. Shut the fuck up. Hey, no one talking when I'm talking, fellas. So shut. I'm like, oh, hell no, right? This vato, hey, they're bending me backwards. They got a knife. They're cutting my got a jumpsuit on, right? No, I was wearing the boxers. I put the jumpsuit on at the last minute. Like, fuck that, bro, because they're going to sting me with that shield. I heard that white guy go, screaming when they hit him with the shield. They're ripping my clothes off with an extractor knife, hog tie me. One caught fish hooking me, the other one socking me in my mouth. They about to took one last master blaster, knocked my tooth all the way out the fucking, you know what I mean? It was all the way, I looked like Mankind from the Hell in the Cell match. It was in my nose. I remember at that time I was growing out my hair, I had a big old fro. They brought me down the stairs, hot tied, butt naked, beatbot just 11, just swinging, just hitting every step. Ooh, they're scraping. I'm looking at everyone like, I'll never do this again, right? They take me, throw me in this fucking holding tank, which was like a cell inside of a cell, and I'm still hogtied. They left me there wet, maced up, butt naked, right? Let me tell you guys something. I said, now it's quiet. I can still hear in the background shit going on, but it's kind of quiet in there, right? I go, fuck that male. I didn't even, so she was wet anyways, right? I was mad. Mo lady didn't even send me a picture. I was pissed, but let me tell you something. You have to go through some things. That was a cell extraction. That shit was so vicious. The placas were mad because they were going to have to stay all night. They were going to have to do overtime. We had already told, there were some Africano brothers that were tier tenders, and one Mexicano, he was a paisa that was a tier tender. We had already told him, if any of you guys come out to help clean up the placas, it's green light situations on you, man. Motherfuckers are going to trip. Don't get involved in our business. They said, nah, we're cool. Fuck that. Oh, hell no. Right? And that was it. And we got our ass whipped. Needless to say, that's the type of shit that happens in prison during a cell extraction. And of course, it goes on your record. And now the placas are always looking at you. They're all mad. And some people, you know, they get caca on their hot dogs. And it's just how it is. But one thing I will tell you is I would never do it again. I wanted to be part of the crowd, part of the team. And sometimes you have to do things that you not necessarily would do. It's out of character. But you can't win, man. The situation is you cannot fucking win. They knocked my tooth out, ripped half my hair out. My balls were aching for about 3 weeks. Scraped me on my ass. I don't know how that happened. I think Alata just took his boot and just scraped me, right? It was bad. Anyways, that's my experience surviving a cell extraction. About a couple weeks later, I was ready to do it again, but wouldn't, you know. One white guy was crazy too, because a couple of the white dudes, they submitted to restraints. We were mad. I was like, brother, I rode with the woods. What happened, right? You know what I mean? The Southsiders were like, that ain't cool, ese. You know what I mean? That was it. Anyways, with that being said, gente, that's what a cell extraction entails. That's what it was. They beat us up. We lost. Hey, one for the placas, none for the convicts. It's just how that goes, you know. Anyone that's been involved that maybe they feel like they were a winner, feel free to tell your story. But in mine, we lost. Period. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. I hope you enjoyed the story. I hope that you were entertained this morning. I hope that I can bring you what I can bring you. Don't forget to like and subscribe. There's a notification button. Hit that thing. All notifications, man, so you're advised of all the different content that I bring every single day, because I'm going to continue to bring it. You already know what it is. Shout out to Young Sunna out there in Fresno. You know what it is, man. Godzilla, man. Tap in. Music videos popping, right? Young Sunna, that's the homie. You know what's going down, man. Hey, everybody, get yours. Move smooth with a purpose, man. That's what it's intended to do. That's how I'm going to do it, right? Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive and struggle and struggle and strive for what I truly believe in. And that's the coming together of all people, black and brown, and the woods. You ready to go, Gunner? Fuck no. Bang, bang.